Is Georgia sort of hiding in plain sight to you?
Well, I mean, I think the way they started this year gave people a little reason for pause. This is a young team, man, like super young. You start looking on the defense, man. You don't have a lot of guys that you're familiar with. So I think that because they started a little bit slow, they didn't get probably the respect that they deserve. And listen, if you watch them the first couple games, Fitz, I was the same. I was looking at the offense. I'm like, yeah, I don't know if Gunner can do this. Like, and then he goes to Tennessee and does it, and they've checked a bunch of boxes. They're a good team. I think they're one of those teams that's peaking like this and doing this at this time. So probably doesn't want to be someone that people want to play because of the style and the way they play. I mean, Kirby showed y'all's picture when you brought it in was perfect. Kirby's got his tongue out. I mean, it's just that's his personality, right? Like he's a dog and he leads them. And so, yeah, I don't know that everybody looks at them and goes, yeah, that's somebody I really want to play.
I mean, I was at that Tennessee Georgia game and I was like, well, I think Georgia got lucky sneaking away with this one. Like, I don't know if this Georgia team is those Georgia teams. And then week over week, they just happened to get better. But let's touch on those Georgia teams. 2021, 2022, back to back national champions. How does this version of the Georgia Bulldogs compare to those national championship teams?
I don't think you see the star power, right? Like you had some dudes like Brock Bowers obviously was one of the bigger names on the planet and what they did with him. So you had Stetson Bennett at QB that I think is similar because Gunner and Stetson are more similar than different. But you had Nolan Smith and Jordan Davis and so the list goes on and on and on. That was a superstar laden team. That was a team that everybody knew the names of the guys. This year is a lot different. They play a lot more guys. They didn't add a bunch of guys in the transfer portal that are out there running around. Like this is a lot of homegrown talent, a lot of guys that they've recruited that have played. They're playing now at a young age and they're early stepping up. So it's not the same team. It's not as explosive. It's not as star ridden, but it's still a very physical team, and it's still a team that when you walk in between those lines, like it's still got that Rocky feel, right? Like that they're if you hit them, they're gonna hit back, and they're not gonna get knocked down. So it's the same championship DNA, but definitely not the stars that we're used to seeing from the Georgia squad.
Pollock, I'm watching that confetti fall, and it just makes me think about experience, right? Because I like proof of concept. I like to know how guys are going to react in the moment. Kirby and Ryan Day are the only two coaches in this entire process that have won a national championship. What difference does it make from a coaching standpoint having that level of experience?
Dude, it means a lot. And here's the thing: like everybody wanted Ryan Day to be a certain guy, and people were like, "Wait a minute, he can't beat Michigan, so he doesn't deserve to be at Ohio State." And you're like, "He's got the highest winning percentage in the history of college football, like ever, forever, ever. Not like just for a season. Like he's been doing this consistently. But just like Kirby, man, like it took Kirby some time to figure out who he was as a coach and how he was going to make the decisions. And we could go back and point out some of the things that were like, man, that wasn't the greatest decision in the world, the fake punt to Fields. I mean, it wasn't great, right? So you learn, you grow, you get used to that. You get used to that seat, man. You get used to making decisions and hiring coaches and who you want to be and being aggressive in certain moments. So I think that it takes a little bit of time. To me, there's a couple guys like Dan Lanning. Like he's been knocking at the door, right? Like he's been there, and it feels like to me he's felt like that young coach, that next guy that's gonna get him one. And he's in the field. Like Joey McGuire in Texas Tech in the field. Kirk Signetti all of a sudden now in the field out of nowhere with Indiana. So I think that there is an experience in big games that really does. It proves who you are, what you are. And I think more importantly, it shows you as a coach, like I've got to be ready for X. And sometimes it's crazy because what you don't realize is you're ready for X, but then you got to get ready for Y really quickly. And then sometimes it's even Z as a coach, and the guys that have been there, done that, bought the T-shirt and hat, they're used to it.
I want to shift gears a little bit to the biggest story of the weekend. Obviously, the Heisman Trophy ceremony. Our winner and runner-up came from Indiana and Vanderbilt, respectively. Like, if that is not a sign of the changing times, I don't know what is. But it feels like what was such a great evening for Indiana and Fernando Mendoza was overshadowed by maybe some comments made by Diego Pavia. Posted F the voters on Instagram, was waving a sign around saying F Indiana at the club afterwards. What did you
Hey.
make of Diego Pavia's post Heisman actions?
Not a fan. I don't know that anybody would be. I understand it and I get it. Like Pavia is one of those guys, man, that like he's fueled off proving people wrong. Like listen, despite what you want to say, like it's like the MJ documentary, right? Like you're either with me or you're against me, right? He's kind of forged like that. He's a 24-year-old. He's not a kid anymore, right? Like this dude's 24. He's been around the block. So I love the apology he issued, like, because I think it was needed. Like, you don't want to act like this, man. This is not who you want to be. I get it. You're competitive, and if it's something like if you're not with me, you're against me. I understand that mentality too. It's what makes Pavia special. What makes you special as an athlete is when you think you belong, and when you think you deserve everything, and when you think, like, I'm just saying, the most senile, overconfident, arrogant players that I've known in the past, they're usually pretty good. Their confidence doesn't waver, right? Like their belief in their self is so strong that they're like, screw everything else. And no matter the obstacle, it's what makes you great on the field. But a lot of times it's what makes you say things that you wish you could take back. And if I'm Pavia, I want that back. I'm glad he apologized. It did kind of ruin the weekend a little bit, but Mendoza was the opposite, man. Mendoza was awesome to me. Like watching him, take the folks with MS to the Adidas store. Obviously, his mom, struggles with it. And just to watch him be the representative of the Heisman, that is everything you could stand for. And how about the guy that, if you want to know everything you need to know about Mendoza, you listen to him give glory to God. You listen to him love on everyone and give everyone else credit, all of his teammates. You listen to all this stuff. And then when he walks back after getting the Heisman and getting all that pub, what was waiting on him? His teammates. Like his teammates had come from Indiana to New York to come celebrate that, dude. You want to talk about somebody that represents everything good about college football, everything good about the Heisman Trophy winner? Like Fernando Mendoza is an absolute stud.
I think when we talk about that, though, it makes me think about coaches too, right? Pollack, I mean, we've known each other for a long time. You're a man of faith. You're a man of character. I know these things. In coaching, that used to be how I perceived coaches, but now we see coaches going off the deep end with their actions. And I'm not just talking about Sharon Moore. I mean, we see this all the time. Coaching controversy is everywhere. It feels like programs don't care. Does it matter anymore? Like, it feels if you're just winning football games, does anyone care about the actual development of human beings in this process?
I think if you win, a lot of that gets overlooked, 100%. But I think we're in a day and world now where it's pay for play. And so it's not as much about development. Like you can be a developmental coach if you want to, and that can be your thing. But a lot of those coaches are dying on the vine because the game has changed so much and it's so much of a business. And I've talked to a bunch of these coaches and they say the mental health is probably as good as it's ever been in the sport, right? Because the kids aren't getting yelled at and talked to in a way that's denigrating. But also the ability to quit is at an all-time high because I can just pull my parachute and I can go somewhere else. So coaches are talking to kids with that understanding. So there's a different level of building resilience and building young men. It's a lot harder on coaches than it used to be, especially with all the rules continuing to change and move and morph. But it's definitely a different world for these a lot of good coaches. Mark Stoops is a perfect example to me. Mark Stoops has been a really, really good football coach for a long time. Hard to survive in this world now with NIL. It's a business, and if you don't have the right people around you, a lot of good coaches are not going to have a job, and a lot of relational coaches that are doing it for the right reasons aren't going to have a job as well.
So if the NFL, which is so quick to basically cut anybody that doesn't have what it takes, and now if that trickles into college football where everything is on a year-by-year basis and nobody develops, when do football players actually become good football players?
Well, I mean, Kirby Smart's still doing it, right? Like you're still going to have some guys that can find the blend in the mix, right? But you've got to find the mix of I can put my pulse on you, my thumb on you, and I can push you and I can drive you. But also to the point where, like, I can't push you too far where I don't develop you. Now, listen, the world has changed with this. So, like Kirby, for an example, he's got a different mindset with this. Like, he's not chasing all these different guys and going to give you a lot of money coming out of high school. If you do the right thing and you show you're trustworthy, he's going to take care of you at Georgia, right? And that's that's kind of the decision you have to make now. When you give kids a lot of money, you don't necessarily know what they're going to turn into. So listen, it's as hard as ever. The rules are going to continue to change. Thank God we got one transfer portal window. Like, we need to fix the calendar in college football. Like, it makes no sense to be hiring coaches in the middle of a playoff run. Like, guys leaving schools in the middle of a playoff run, having National Signing Day before you even like know who's going in the transfer portal. That makes a heck of a lot of sense. That means that would literally be like being in the NFL and having free agency before the draft. Like, you need to know what you drafted, right? You need to know who the young guys are. We need to know those things before. So there's a lot with the calendar that needs to get fixed with college football, and hopefully there's some people that will get in a room and fix some of this stuff, because we got the greatest sport on the planet, and we got to make sure we take care of it.
The picture that we just saw has become probably the poster child for fixing the calendar in college football. Of course, Lane Kiffin leaving before Ole Miss's playoff had even begun, leaving for Ole Miss's arch rival. How do you fix the calendar? What does the David Pollock college football calendar look like?
Well, I would do a couple of things. I would end the season a little bit early. I would get rid of championship games. I think that when you talk about when the season ends and now you go into recruiting, like, I would do high school recruiting. I would move it back. Like, let's move the calendar back a little bit. You know why we don't move the calendar back? Because of academics. Get the heck out of here. Shut the front door. Ain't nobody caring about academics. This is business. Like, this is real life business. That's how it's being handled. The amount of money that's being thrown around, it's a lot, okay? It's a lot more than I'm making. It's a lot more than you're making. Like, this is a lot of money in college sports. So let's do this thing right. So if we push it back, push high school recruiting back, one transfer portal window, let's do everything and have everything finished, the transfer portal, before spring. So my roster is set. Like, my roster is ironclad. I'm not going through spring developing guys and then all of a sudden, what happened? Where's my starting safety in my corner and my linebacker? Like, they're gone. Like, that can't happen in the sport. Like, I want to see, let's do it like the NFL with tampering, right? If you're going to tamper with a coach and before the season's over, like, there's a fine, there's draft picks, like, there's something that's put in place. I would love a rookie salary cap. Honestly, you don't have enough time to hear all the ideas that I have, but like, let's get some people in a room that have finished this, that are coaches. Let's get some players in a room. Like, let's get the ADs in a room, the presidents in the room. Let's get all these folks in a room. I don't think it's that hard to fix, but it will take some time. It will take some effort. When's the last time y'all heard somebody was academically ineligible? When's the last time you heard that? You don't hear that crap anymore. The NCAA, NCAA was like, Utah just did their, partnership with Otro Sports, like basically the agency, $500 million partnership, right? Like, cash, basically bringing into this. This is a private equity in college sports. This is professionalism. Like, let's go ahead and finish the deal and make it all professionalism across the board. Make them paid athletes. It's basically minor league sports. Let's treat this like it is.
Pollock, before we get you out of here, Georgia winning it all this year?
If you asked me to pick, I would take Ohio State. I think Ohio State and their combination of weapons at receiver, man, like, they've got 2 first-round picks at wide receiver. They got Julian saying. The thing I worry about with Georgia, man, is they got in a shootout a couple years ago with Ohio State with that talented team you were talking about, and they won. Can they get in a shootout? Like, can Gunner and company, they did at Tennessee, but against a really good Ohio State defense, I think it would be harder to do. So if you ask me to pick, I think there's 4 teams that could win it. There's only 4 teams in the bracket that I would say, yes, they can win it. And Georgia, Ohio State, Indiana, and Oregon. Those are the 4 teams, which, if you're counting, that's 3 Big Ten teams. I think 3 Big Ten teams can win because the quarterback play is really good, man. Like, really elite. Like, Fernando Mendoza, #1 pick in the NFL draft. Dante Moore, he'll be a top 10 pick whenever he decides to come out and go in the draft. Julian Sayin, first-round draft pick at quarterback. Gunnar Stockton has an elite defense, an elite sporting cast. Like, he's not even remotely in that conversation. Maybe he gets drafted, in the middle rounds or something. But I do think the talent and the way they can win is different than everyone else.
You guys should check out the podcast, See Ball, Get Ball. Follow him on social media at David Pollock 47. Pollock, appreciate your time, man. Thanks for everything. Merry Christmas, brother. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Merry Christmas. Thank y'all for your time. See you, dudes.